With sportpursuit.com, it's you against the clock. Street Velodrome, proudly sponsored by sportpursuit.com.
Hello and welcome to Harwood House for the cycling series that brings the Velodrome to the people and where amateurs get to challenge Olympians. It's Street Velodrome.
This is fast riding, very, very close on the line, very tidy corner. Oh, it's all right now. Very, very high ride.
Well, this weekend, the Street Velodrome series is at the Yorkshire Festival of Cycling, where there's everything two wheels to enjoy, including some of the world's greatest road cyclists in the Grand Depart of the Tour de France. And there's plenty more. While the Tour will take many long days to reach Paris, there's no danger of saddle sores here at Street Velodrome, with each race packed into a minute of heart-pumping action. Let's join your race commentator, Carlton Kirby.
At its heart, Street Velodrome is fully committed pursuit racing on a pop-up track featuring head-to-head racing, two riders, one in the red zone, one in the blue, with headgear to match. First to complete 3 laps is the winner. You have to be focused, you have to be brave, and you have to be quick. Some races don't go all the way. If you don't get out of a corner before the other rider enters it, it's a catch, and it's game over. Every rider in the event is sitting on an identical single-speed bike, so success is about the rider and not the machine. There are 4 teams contesting the series, and each with 4 people, 2 pros, a man and a woman, pre-selected before the event takes place. The rest of the team is made up of amateur riders selected from tryouts on race day itself, the fastest 4 men and 4 women promoted into the pro teams. It's a national series with rounds taking place in Stevenage, Ealing, here in Harwood House, with Stockton, Paisley and then Broadgate in the City of London. The finale still to come.
Well, the Street Velodrome series is about to reach the halfway point on its national tour, and with me along the way has been Nicole Cook. Let's talk about today and what's been going on, because we've seen absolutely bombastic crowds here and plenty of kids getting involved as well, Nicole.
Yeah, there's been loads of people just giving it a go, and we've seen groups of people come along and then they've sort of challenged themselves to a bit of a duel on the Street Velodrome track. So if they've got nerves of steel, then they can challenge the more established pro riders.
Well, we've seen Army reserves go round the track today. Not all of them as good as they perhaps should be, who knows. We've also just seen some very small children on balance bikes as well. How does that feel to see such young kids getting involved?
So the idea behind the Street Velodrome concept of bringing track cycling and cycling in general to the crowds, to the public, making it accessible for anyone to give it a go. And yeah, cycling has got the magic factor for adults, for children. It really is capturing everyone's imagination.
All right, well, thanks very much, Nicole. Well, before the pro action gets underway here in Yorkshire, let's have a look at what the Street Velodrome riders have been up to on the streets of Britain so far in 2014. It all started at the Bike and Triathlon Show in Manchester with the exhibition event, not part of the official series, but a first taste of competition, with BMXer Ross Sharp winning the men's event.
3:45 in the end.
Anna Glowinski winning the women's, although she was pushed all the way to a photo finish by Maxine Philby. Then it was time for the 4 teams who would contest the main series to get together, with some top-class talent amongst them.
Mad Dog Energy Lemonade. Anna Glowinski, the star addition to their roster. Could she dominate this round Britain tour as she had done in Manchester? Cycle Chiltern's Lee Grattan and Maxine Philby, the talented mountain biking duo, making this team one to watch over the series. And London Cycling Campaign, having perhaps the biggest signing in the series, Olympic and Commonwealth medalist and Velodrome legend Craig McLean, bringing some raw power. Fourth team on the roster, Empora Velotech, with their own track and road star from down under, Glenn Poncherello-Thompson.
The teams were ready, the track was tested, and round one in the Hertfordshire town of Stevenage would be the first chance for teams to put series points on the board. As part of the annual Stevenage Day, the event took place on the George V playing field, with the Street Velodrome circuit at the heart of a massive events, activities and entertainment, bringing all of the community together. It would also be a chance for members of the same community to try out for a team and become part of the action. The first time that members of the public would be drafted onto the Street Velodrome quartets as amateur riders to race with as well as versus the pros.
This is Street Velodrome. This ride means something.
In the first amateur tryouts of the series, there were plenty of riders looking for a place on a team where they would get some much-needed tips from the pros.
Get as much speed on the flat as you can. We have a faller there. He's smiling.
After their win in the Manchester men's event, the BMX specialists were back. Dave Johnson was here as an amateur, hoping to be fast enough to get a place on a pro team. He'd come along with a friend who was already a pro rider for Mad Dog Energy Lemonade, Keelan Phillips, star of Channel 4's Concrete Circus.
I'm a competitive person, so I don't like to lose at all. So I'm going to go out there and hopefully do it for the BMXers, show these road bikers who's boss.
With the fastest flying lap in qualifying, Keelan's BMX buddy Dave Johnson secured his place on a rival pro team, racing as the amateur for London Cycling Campaign.
So already with friends in high places and now with an Olympic buddy to ride with.
I was late coming here, slept in, and then when I got here, he was like, "You got to do it," and I was like, "I don't want to do it," and then he told me to, and then I won.
Keelan Phillips and Dave Johnson are progressing nicely, but the BMX men face a big threat from the titan of the indoor track, Velodrome Olympic, World and Commonwealth Games medalist Craig McLean. He humbled exhibition event runner-up Lee Grattan early in the competition, and the signs are that the track riders can also deliver on the pop-up version.
I had a brief go at the Manchester bike show, so I was immediately taken with it. I thought this looks like great fun. It looked a bit dangerous, I thought, but as soon as you're on it, then you're gonna get swept up in it, and you're trying to get round the bends faster and faster every time.
How does this differ from a normal velodrome?
Quite considerably. I mean, the corners in the velodrome they're designed for you to pedal all the way around, whereas these are, they're so tight and so steep that you can't physically pedal all the way around. It's a kind of cross between velodrome and BMX, I would say.
Craig's semi-final was an all-London Cycling Campaign affair between McLean and amateur rider Dave Johnson. The experience of the speedy Scot showed, though, as he booked his place in the men's final against Keelan Phillips.
This is about BMX versus Velodrome. Keelan Phillips, a flatlander, against Craig McLean, I guess you could say a Highlander. Here we go then. McLean in the blue, Phillips in the red. Who's going to get the biggest pull on the bars? The power lays down nice and smoothly, and Craig McLean showing exactly what he's made of. And it's rock. Rock and roll, you might say, as they hit the curves. And no doubt about it, one winner only it could be. It's the big man.
The women's competition in Stevenage saw more rivalry between Maxine Philby and Anna Glowinski, winner of the exhibition event in Manchester.
Yeah, well, I really hope to win again, obviously. Maxine's coming down, who was nipping at my heels last time, so the competition will still be on, but hopefully I can still beat her.
Lana did beat Maxine again to book a place in the final against Adele Tyson-Blore, who made it to the decider despite this fall. And Anna made no mistake in the final.
Amateurs are a vital part of this all-inclusive competition. Local girl Lauren Hyam the amateur. She could still be selected for the super final in Broadgate. Would her third place here be enough? Here's your Olympic-style medal table with London Cycling Campaign leading Mad Dog Energy Lemonade for now. Don't forget there are awards for catches and for race wins.
The Borough of Ealing and West London was host for round 2. It was all part of the Velocity Ealing events, with Haven Green not only turned into a velodrome, but also a skateboard park, with BMX trick sessions, gliding and riding workshops, and a bike fix-it. With great weather and big crowds turning out for a day of two-wheeled celebrations, all was set for some juicy action. After his bronze in round 1, Dave Johnson was promoted from amateur to pro on the London Cycling Campaign team, standing in for Craig McLean. He seemed to be enjoying the artificial surface laid out on the grass.
It's quite fast. I mean, it felt a little tiny bit like a bit spongy, but off the corners, get the corners right, and it'll feel good. So just pedal.
Dave was looking sharp, but his pro teammate and Stevenage silver medalist Adele Tyson-Blore was beaten in qualifying by amateur tryouts winner Agatha Downey. The mountain biker demonstrating that amateurs aren't just about making up the numbers.
Mountain biking is softer, and it's usually at lower speed. It hurts here. Oh, it's amazing. It's really great fun.
Anna Glowinski was back, the unbeaten rider coming up against old friend and arch rival Cycle Chiltern's Maxine Philby early in the competition.
I'm feeling a lot better this week, so hopefully I'm going to give her a bit of a better run for her money. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully I'll run a bit closer this week.
Close friends and huge rivals Maxine Philby up against the unbeaten Anna Glowinski. Always a smooth start from Anna, and so it's proven once again. It's catch-up time for Maxine. Has she got what it takes? It's a lead that is bound to change, and it has done. Quicker start to Glowinski, more power from Philby, but how will this balance be eked out as they hit the line for the final time? My goodness, Philby takes it at the very last. Endurance to the fore. That meant an awful lot. Oh, there's the power grab.
It's given me lots of confidence, but you just got every race, you just draw a line under it and head for the next one. So I know I can beat her now, though. You know, she can be beaten, so she's not this mystical, like, expert at street velodrome. So, although she is, but...
In the bronze medal race, there was a much-needed win for Team Empora Velotech as pro rider Hayley Davis narrowly beat Cycle Chiltern's amateur Agatha Downey.
So bronze for Hayley. Agatha, though, her results possibly enough to carry her all the way to Broadgate. A longer road for Anna Glowinski, but she makes the final eventually, and it's Maxine Philby up against her once again.
I was determined to get through to the final so that I could have that race, that battle again with Maxine. I don't want to finish today with her beating me.
Cycle Chilterns will pick up their first medal of this competition. What colour will it be? Anna Glowinski in the blue up against her nemesis and best mate. It's Maxine Philby who gets the start, but it's Glowinski who gets the pickup. That's it, straight off that banking, absolutely superb. And Philby appears to be fading here. Glowinski's got a huge drive, slung shot off that corner, and the gap is extending. Oh, shoulders are dropping for Maxine. Glowinski, well, it's not going to be that she's beaten once again here. Absolutely not. She's got the bragging rights at the line, and she's only got herself a gold medal as well. We have an alchemist, potentially. Bronze is only so far for Empora Velotech, and the man charged with changing that to either silver or gold is Glenn Poncherello Thompson, a man who loves the California Highway Patrol.
It's great fun, and I'm enjoying it. I'm kind of dripping sweat. But I just saw a guy come off the track just now. The guy who's going round, and I think he could be the person to beat because his cornering is superb.
Poncherello was the star of Chips. Has Rob Reed had his? Not necessarily the Cycle Chiltern star, the fastest of the amateur qualifiers.
What we've done here, I'll let you into a secret, is that we've dropped our seat posts. So not like a road bike where our seat's really high. If the seat's lower, you can move with the bike a lot easier. So it's a lot easier to handle in the corners. So if you watch some of the other guys, they might still have their seat really high, whereas we've dropped ours.
It's all about gravity management then, according to Rob Reed. Drop it as low as you can, but obviously not this low. And we won't be racing the Push Me Pull You today. As quick as the pros in Stevenage, Dave Johnson got elevated to the pros in the absence of Craig McLean. Glenn Thompson put to the sword. The secret of success? Well, quick, slick, and indeed brave.
Got my finger on the brake, but I'm not using it. I'm not using it. You could give me some brand new brake pads with the wrapper on, and they wouldn't be scuffed at all at the end of it. And if you're going to touch a brake, put your finger on the front brake, because you know you can't pull it, otherwise you're going to eat it.
Eye-catching performances from Dave Johnson, rapidly becoming a street velodrome specialist. Ross Edgar, one of those impressed.
He definitely gives it his all around these corners, and we'll see what happens in the race. You know, he's a formidable force on this street velodrome, so we'll see.
And may the force be with them both. Ross Edgar, don't forget, silver medal from Beijing, and the Kieran. Well, that's a battle there, and he's got one on his hands right here. On the opposite side of the track will be Lee Grattan. He's a mountain biker, and he knows how to ride these curves beautifully. He was runner-up in the Manchester exhibition event, don't forget.
Key, corners and start really. The flats, you just got to get as much power down as you can. Yeah, so it's good though.
It's track versus turf. Ross Edgar versus Lee Grattan. Who's got the bragging rights today?
3, 2, 1.
Holders at the ready, quick release, oh, and it's a shimmy all over the place for Lee Grattan, an appalling start, doing more kilometres or inches than is necessary, and he's going to be playing catch-up, and so it proves. Lee Grattan, though, punches straight back, Ross Edgar's down, oh, and so is Lee Grattan, the pair of them. Well, the race is not over, the clock's still rolling, and who's going to be first across the line? That's what counts. Oh, Lee Grattan is the quickest to pick up and deliver. Well, the biggest piece of drama we've seen on Street Velodrome so far, amongst the great races we've had. Not seen anything like that until now.
We're going to have to rebuild the road now.
Well, there's a rumour circulating that you stay off the brakes to get glory. Unfortunately, too much speed in, misjudged the loop, grabbed at the bars to avoid the barriers, down he went. So a moment of madness, and check this out for a moment of realisation. Lee Grattan with his back to Ross Edgar, who's strewn on the track. Suddenly, a light goes on. There's a line here, and it could be mine. Both men wrestling their machines in a panic. Lee Grattan delivers.
Just like I said, I'm not braking for this last corner, and I just overcooked it and tried to dig it in hard, because I know I was coming in hot. And I just tried to turn it in too hard and went over the other way. And I'm lying there, I'm like, I've blown this, and then I look up, Lee's on the floor, like, get back on the bike.
I got up quicker. Yeah. So.
He got up before I realised it, before he was down. Yeah.
Time to fight for the right to beat Lee. Rob Reed, the fastest qualifier, up against Mr. No Brakes, Dave Johnson.
You're not allowed to touch the brakes. If you do, you're going to lose. So it's all out. The final's going to be crazy.
Rob Reed of Cycle Chilterns up against London Cycling Campaign's Dave Johnson, who has no holder. He kicks away. Is he going to get a kicking as a result? Right now it's Rob Reed that's in the lead. He comes off the banking absolutely beautifully. His power delivery on the straight is impressive, and the banking that he's taking is so smooth at the moment. This is a big catch-up for Dave Johnson. Oh, and Rob Reed off the bike, and he's pushing, trying to avoid the catch. Just avoids it that time by, but this is an absolute gift for Dave Johnson. He takes the victory by the biggest margin so far. Every race tells a different story, and this one was about going freestyle, I guess. Off the bike, suddenly like he's on a balance bike. Running on running into trouble. We have our winner, and it's not Rob Reed. It's finals time. It's about medals, it's about bragging rights, and it's about these next laps. Dave Johnson, could he be lucky to be here? Let's find out. Away they go. It's a slow start from both of them. They're wrestling the bikes and straight into a ragged first corner from the pair. Smoothest perhaps of those was Lee Grattan. Can he carry it on? Dave Johnson is on the catch-up. Oh, and the lead switches once again. Amazing stuff. One way, then the next. Time for some showboating. And Dave Johnson gets it.
Got around in a good time. I'm real happy with myself, so it can be a bad day. And some amazing riders. Today felt like the friendliest. Like everyone that was here was great. They made it a brilliant day.
The little guy, the biggest of them all. He takes gold, Dave Johnson. Lee Grattan with the silver, and Rob Reed winning that bronze medal ride-off. The hunt for Chiltern Gold goes on. 2 silvers and a bronze. Could do better. Maybe will do. London Cycling bossing it at the moment, ahead of Mad Dog Energy Lemonade. So round 2, the 6 venues in the 2014 Sport Pursuit Street Velodrome Series complete. Next up, we're heading north. Harwood House beckons.
Street Velodrome, proudly sponsored by SportPursuit.com.
Hello from the Street Velodrome Series, round 3 here at the Yorkshire Festival of Cycling. Thousands of enthusiasts enjoying all different sorts of cycling action this weekend, and a lucky few will get to compete too. Here's Carlton Kirby.
Well, the stars, like the fans, out in force. Lee Grattan and Maxime Philby representing Cycle Chilterns. Mad Dog Energy Lemonade have Anna Glowinski and Ross Edgar on hand. And London Cycling Campaign, Adele Tyson-Bloor is rejoined by Craig McLean. He returns as super sub Dave Johnson picks up his coaching role.
I filled in for Craig McLean at Ealing as a pro rider pretty last minute. And today he's found a time in his busy schedule of training for the Commonwealth Games to come and compete. It's a bit heartbreaking. I think I could have won again, but maybe next time we'll definitely do that. I coached 300 kids yesterday and got some real beginning riders to get round the track. And to be honest, that's a better feeling than myself doing good, seeing a kid real happy that he's just got round the velodrome and riding with some pro riders as well. It's always a good feeling, you know.
It's a huge crowd at Harwood House. For many here, it's their first taste of the Street Velodrome Series, and for some brave amateurs, it's the first experience of competitive cycling. This 6-round series has huge appeal across all age groups, giving them a chance to have a go at something very different and very engaging. It's a turn-up-and-go event that anybody can join in with. The fun starts in the morning with an invitation to enjoy a 3-hour open session using the same single-speed bikes while following those red training lines. Once the confidence is there, each are then given the chance to set a 2-lap qualifying time. The top 4 men and women amateurs then take on the stars at their own game. For most, this is a great day out and it's about fun. But for the best amateurs, this is also about glory. Ian Carr came along with his mates from the Royal Engineers. He gave it a go and got the pass out to play.
I'm part of the Army Development Squad. So we get to go away and do lots of different races. We've recently, just before the Tour de France started, went around and rode the 2 stages. I think hopefully I've got the fitness for it, so I can keep pedalling. It's just about staying on them corners, really, and just not being too scared.
If you're being offered some tips, take them. More difficult than it looks, most certainly. And thankfully for Saran Mullen, she was able to progress with the help of Dave Johnson despite that tumble.
Putting the power down on the flat,
It was a day that produced some spectacular runs. Louis Bouton was here, working on a jacket potatoes stand. He brought his jacket to the fun. It was sort of a bike you like, I guess. Louis riding on with Cycle Chiltern. Steve Brondell, the fastest amateur out there. A London cycling campaign just couldn't resist. And for the fans, it's not just about the bikes, it's votes that count.
Now this is a key piece of equipment in Street Velodrome. By going to the series website, members of the crowd can vote for their favourite rider. When we get to the semi-final stage, the most popular man and woman who've been knocked out will be reinstated back to the competition. It's a bit Strictly Come Cycling, and it can make a big difference to the results.
The likes of Craig McLean don't need votes to progress. He has the skills, and he's happy to share them. It's a practice session for those joining the elite, and they're willing to listen and engage. Round one then, the fun starts here, at least competition-wise. Steve Brondell up against Sam Gay. Brondell in the blue, fastest of the qualifiers, and he's brought his family along here for support. He's serious. Sam Gay up against him from Empora Velotech. Bronze is only for his team until now, and if you thought this didn't matter, think again.
So that's 2 laps there. So the next one,
Steve Brondell with a winning smile in the eyes of an assassin. Louis from the Spuds taking on Ian from the Squaddies. Slightly uneven in terms of support. Louis from the Spud van. Meanwhile, the Squaddies giving royal support to Ian. Glory for the army. No medal just yet. Well, one thing that everyone takes away from this is the training and indeed the experience of Street Velodrome. Corinne Moss came here for a day out with the kids, and then she went and qualified for the action. Well, she wins her race against Cycle Chiltern's amateur Angela Eisen. Early amateur battles complete then. Dave's coaching with these amateurs truly paying off. Party time ahead of the main event.
With the Street Velodrome, it's a mixture of the skills around the banking and the actual strength and speed in the straights. And I think we saw with Craig McLean that even the start off the line is a very important part of this. It's not just the high speeds and the technique around the corners. So, yeah, it's really the rider that has the complete package or has it the least weaknesses, really.
Time then for the pros to get involved. Lee Grattan in the red up against Ross Edgar. A rematch par excellence all the way from Ealing, where both fell off, of course. This time they need to stay on, and on it, I think you might say. Grattan with the lead at the first split. Ross Edgar trailing by just 0.04 of a second. The racing here is incredibly close. The timing couldn't separate them. Lee taking it on a photo. A high five from Maxime Philby, his teammate. She now about to do battle with her old foe and great friend, Anna Glowinski. And no doubt about the most determined start. Anna on a charge. Maxime, shoulders dropping perhaps. It was a big gap at the first, and it was a margin that just continued to go out. Anna dominant on this occasion. Short route to the semis. Maxime taking the long road. Well, Anna is a mountain biker and a road racer. Now she's a Street Velodrome star, as you know. It's a full mix. She uses it well. So still some hurdles for Maxine, but Anna, I'm sure, will be waiting for her to take her on again later in this competition.
Well, here at Street Velodrome, there can be no accusations of technical trickery to get success on the track. All the bikes are the same. They're provided by the organisers and supplied by Mango Bikes. Here's Ben Harrison from the brand. Thanks for joining us, Ben. Tell us about the technical makeup of the bike and why it's so suitable to this format.
Well, I think the most important thing to realise is that track cycling is probably the most pure form of cycling. It's that the bikes only have one gear. They're very straightforward and there's very little to go wrong.
Are they difficult to handle for someone who maybe doesn't regularly use a bike like this? Perhaps a mountain biker, for example?
I wouldn't have thought so. One of the things we spent a long time in doing was making sure that the geometry worked for everyone. So we went through numerous prototypes before we actually got to the finished product. And it means that the handling of the bikes is really quite easy and quite forgiving. And it doesn't put you into any positions like a typical road bike might that's a little bit uncomfortable or unstable. The event itself, it's really cool. It's obviously covering the country. You're getting all sorts of people on the bikes, from pros to amateurs to people who haven't ridden a bike in years again. So it's the perfect setup for us. It does everything that we want. It gets a huge variety of people on the bikes, and that's perfect for us.
Variety is the spice of competition. An Olympian against an amateur. McLean versus Lane. Surely a catch in the offing, and so it was to prove. The power of the Olympian, something to behold. The lead emphatic from the start, and just a hint of easing off perhaps? Not a bit of it. This man determined to catch his foe, and he delivered. In the corner, the catch was made. Job done. Don't forget, catches have their own trophy and will count in the event of a medals tie in the series. Adele Tyson-Bloor is a road and track pursuit national master, don't forget. So, an uphill struggle then for Saran Mullen. The young amateur taking a tumble, getting some training, and then becoming the fastest qualifier. That's plucky, and so was this performance. Until this. Brave indeed. Up, slightly more embarrassed than hurt, I think. Well, she may have some bruises to nurse, but I guess she can count it as a badge of honour. She gave it everything. Well, when you take on the greats, it needs a great performance, and she got a great round of applause. Next up, Steve Brondell, fastest amateur out there, up against Lee Grattan, the pro, the man who came through on a photo finish. He would like to make this a little bit more of an easy affair. Pro versus amateur, time to go racing. Steve Brondell takes this sort of thing extraordinarily seriously. He looks up the road. It doesn't go far before he has to make a turn. It's the same deal for both of them. Holders to the fore. Minds engaged. Let's go! Terrific start from both of them, but it's Lee Grattan who just pulls maybe a little bit too much on the bars. He does more kilometres than anybody else out here, but he still has the lead, but it's only by a margin of 0.02. Steve Brondell issues an oath to the cycling gods, and it's not printable, I can tell you. It meant a lot, and so did that. Damage? Well, needs to be straightened up. I think it's pride that's hurt more than anything else. Let's check out how they started here. No doubt about it, Lee Grattan, he gets a shaky start, but he's so smooth in the corners, and that's where it counts here. It's what Street Velodrome is all about. Now watch the approach. Just look at the endeavour, leg down, too wide, back end comes round. On the deck. Well, his only hope, and with the level of support he's got, it might be a solid hope, is that the votes count for him and he manages to get himself back with a place in the semi-finals. We must wait and see. Check it out on board. No cleats on these bikes. You've got to have positive pedal actions all the way, and if you don't, you can come unstuck.
I looked across on the first lap and it was neck and neck, so I thought, well, I've got to give it everything in here, kind of thing. And unfortunately, on the bend, let's call it a bit of, I don't know, inexperience probably more than anything, and I just over-egged it and just, that's it. But, you know, you've got to do it, haven't you? Yeah, just give it everything. So.
And we're going to see you again, aren't we, Steve, though?
Yes, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I promise I'm not going to crash this time.
Well, let's try and make it a good thing, Steve, because you've got the popular vote. It means, though, that you're through to face Craig McLean. He's through and looking good for another victory after Stevenage. Can anybody stop this man? Well, even bad corners go his way. Bad blood between Anna Glowinski and Maxime Philby? Well, on the bike, maybe. They're going to meet once again. Semi-finals beckon at Harwood. The best 4 men and the best 4 women about to do battle.
Street Velodrome, proudly sponsored by sportpursuit.com.
Welcome back from the Street Velodrome Series. Round 3 here at the Yorkshire Festival of Cycling has seen some fantastic action as part of the send-off for the Tour de France. But while the peloton heads to Paris, all eyes here firmly fixed on the world's only pop-up velodrome as the rivalry increases and the competition heats up as it heads towards its climax. Here's Carlton Kirby.
What drama we've had so far. Lee Grattan needed a photo finish to see off Ross Edgar. We've had catches aplenty as well. Craig McLean, though, with the biggest of them in free riding, doing for Ian Lane. And the biggest scalp of them all. London cycling, Adele Tyson-Bloor, beaten by an amateur. Corinne Moss, remember that name.
Well, we're at the semi-final stage here at Harwood House. Nicole, take us through some of the action that you've been seeing.
Well, we've seen in the ladies' competition some of the amateurs actually beating the pros. I think in the match with Adele, I think she just got pipped, which took her a bit by surprise. So there's been some fantastic competition from the amateurs that have just thrown everything into these races. And the same on the men's competitions as well. There's been some very close competition and thrilling races that have come down to a photo finish and the timing to decide.
And so, destined to meet again, it's Maxime against Anna. In competition, well, they bury the hatchet afterwards, not in each other, you understand. Who's going to get the better this time? A very determined Maxime Philby wants a big start and she gets one. Pulling the bars though, slightly unstable going into the first corner. Anna Glowinski slightly smoother at this point and takes the lead. Oh, and by a margin of over half a second. Anna Glowinski books her place in the final and by a country mile. Next up, we've got Corinne, who took the mighty scalp of Tyson-Bloor, and we've got Saran, one of the bravest, who got the vote. Money has to be on Corinne Moss, and surely she's going to take this one. She hits the curve first. Oh, and it's delicate stuff by Saran. She's going to come to the line, and it's 3/4 of a second after the opening lap. It doesn't bode well for the team in red. Corinne Moss will race off for gold here.
Congratulations, you're having a really good day out there today.
Yeah, it's been a bit unexpected. I came to see my kids have a go, not having me have a go myself. So, yeah, it's been a good day.
There's been some surprises. None that Lee Grattan made it through to this semi-final, but Ross Edgar had to take a longer road than he'd thought necessary to get to this point. So, time to take your marks and go racing. It's a place in the final at stake. Well, there's smiles, there's a handshake, and then there's the deep breaths, then there's the focus, and then there's the race. Cycle Chilterns have no gold medal just yet, and Lee is the team's last chance here London Cycling lead the table. How will it be after the final? On your marks.
Station, are you ready?
It's on the whistle.
3, 2, 1.
And ringing in there is, it's a big pull and a loose one yet again from Lee Grattan. He just can't keep it straight early on. And the message is ringing loud here. Ross Edgar is in the lead and Lee Grattan is playing catch-up. Oh, and it's a solid one. Only 1/100th of a second trimmed back off. It doesn't matter how smooth you are. If you get a bad start here, there's very little ground to make up. And Ross Edgar's holding this one. He's heading for victory. And Lee Grattan's dreams are going to fall on this velodrome right now. To the line then, and it's victory. As predicted, it was only widening the gap. And Ross Edgar takes his place in the final. Ross Edgar was so fast there. In fact, the quickest time that's been posted today.
Managed to beat him by a little bit of a margin in that semi-final. So I'm up in the final now. We'll see the other semi-finals up now, so we'll see who I'm up against. But most likely up against Craig McLean, so it'll be a good final, I think.
Well, there's a prediction, and this man looks like he doesn't want to look too far into the future. Steve Brondell, the fastest amateur, just happens to be about to take on Craig McLean. As far as the teams are concerned, Mad Dog Lemonade have done well. They've got places locked out in the final, and London Cycling are guaranteed a place there. Teammates going head-to-head then. There's no doubt who the favourite is. Holders in position, riders at the ready.
Red station, you ready?
Here we go then.
Station, you ready?
A place in the final up for grabs, and surely Craig McLean is going to take delivery. It's a huge pull by Steve Brondell. He's got to find something. Pull a rabbit out of the hat maybe, because Craig McLean has got the talk and he walks the walk. Check that curve out. Absolute perfection by an Olympian, delivering exactly what he does for a living right here before our eyes. It's an emphatic lead. It might be an enormous one, and there's a danger of a catch in this semi-final. Craig McLean clearly easing off, maybe to save a few blushes. 1.97 seconds the gap. Well, it may have been a big distance between the pair of them at the line, but Steve Brondell can take an awful lot out of this competition. He's entertained, he got the popular vote, and indeed he's got a few tricks up his sleeve as well. That's a man who's enjoyed himself, and I think possibly realising exactly what he took on there.
I knew I was kind of up against it, and I was really kind of going for it those first few laps, and I kind of got him in my sights, and I was able to relax a little bit more. But yeah, it was had me on the ropes a little bit.
Steve, we saw what happened in the race before this. You picked up an injury. Just show us again how that's doing. It's looking nice and bright now. And you didn't waggle these in front of Craig before you raced, did you, to sort of try and gain the sympathy vote?
No, you know, like we just said before, I mean, I've really taken to it, and the bends, I'm nice and quick around the bends. But unfortunately, the first couple of races against the pros, I thought, well, I'm really going to have to give it the full gas, and fell off. So this race, I thought, well, you only got to look at this guy's legs, look at his legs compared to my legs. You know, I don't mind losing to this year, and what a champion he is, so it's been great. I loved it.
Absolutely no doubt about the favourite in the women's final. Anna Glowinski, virtually unbeaten in this Sport Pursuit Street Velodrome series, losing just one preliminary round, and in the final up against Corinne Moss, her Mad Dog Energy Lemonade teammate. There was only going to be one winner, and we already knew her name. Anna Glowinski takes it, a smile and a silver medal for Corinne Moss.
I really think the ride of the day was done by Corinne here, who's the first amateur ever to get through to the final, knocking out pros on the way. So, you know, it was an amazing day racing, and it was just super cool to be against my teammate, the girl that I coached through the day, and she's just improved until here she is in silver medal.
Something of a fairy tale about the finalists in the women's race. The men, anything but. Two giants of the world of cycling about to go head-to-head in the dream final, I guess you might have said. Well, mimicking a track stand from the velodromes that are larger than this. But the competition will be just as hardly fought, you can be sure. So time to get to the line and find out who's going to be the daddy here.
London Velodrome or Manchester Velodrome to see these guys. So you're in for a treat.
bragging rights amongst the elite are huge, and they'll take this any day. So smiles to the line once more, and then the frowns, and then that look straight down the road. The tunnelling effect. They'll both do it. Big breath. It's a big moment. There's a gold medal at stake. Underway, slight pull there from Craig McLean. It looked like Ross Edgar's going to get the lead by this, but only the line will tell. Bang, across they go, and Ross Edgar is trailing at the moment. Craig McLean with the power, and he's delivering it absolutely beautifully. 0.3 of a second right now. He takes that curve brilliantly. Maybe just a little bit too high, though, and the lead, well, it's still holding at 0.59. Craig McLean heading for this medal. Ross Edgar won't like it, but there's not much he can do about it, and he's getting ragged in the curve, but you can see how much he's putting into this. 0.06, my life, that was close. Wow, they gave it everything, and we knew they would. Solid entertainment here at Harwood. Well, we've got the results, but the riders still don't know. They're going to call them here rather cruelly, I think, and then have an announcement, X Factor styley. And so, the moment of truth, neither absolutely certain that it's theirs.
I can announce that the winner of Street Velodrome at Harewood House is Craig McLean!
He's got it! I think Ross knew all along. The shoulders went down, he allowed himself a smile. One thing is certain, fabulous racing once again.
Thank you for taking part once again. Ladies and gentlemen, Ross and Craig. London Cycling.
Doesn't get much closer. I thought I had a big enough gap so I could just kind of coast in those last lap at least. And then he was kind of neck and neck at one point, and I had to get back on the gas. And yeah, I thought he had it on the line. I just had to lunge as much as I could, and fortunately the decision went my way.
You're becoming a pretty cool customer, really, Ross, aren't you? Getting better and better. So I fear for the next time you two match up.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these days. These close decisions have got to go my way. So it's yeah, I do feel like I'm getting better, and that's showing in my results. So it's still good fun.
Mad Dog Energy Lemonade move into the lead in the team competition. Anna Glowinski amassing an enormous tally of points for them. And this is how it stacks up. They move ahead of London Cycling Campaign. Cycle Chilterns with work to do, and Bora Velotech likewise. And it's not all over for Steve Blondell. He could still make it as an amateur in the upcoming Super Final, as could Rob Reed, who did well in Ealing, likewise his teammate Agatha Downey. And don't forget Lauren Hyam, and indeed all the other amateurs that feature in this series. We could be seeing them again. And the party rolls on. Next time, Stockton. There the big challengers will be on hand. And former winners Dave Johnson and Anna Glowinski. Who's going to get the better of them and of the track?
He was so fast, he put me to my limit.
I only came to ride round and see how fast I could go.
There's absolutely no shame in being beaten by Jess Stone. I think it's going to be a close and exciting race.
And then Scotland gets its taste of Street Velodrome as we head to Paisley. And we're going to meet the man in the middle, our referee, Nick Jago. Looking forward to that. And the super final of the Street Velodrome series. It's in Broadgate in the City of London, and that's where we're going to find out who our champion riders and teams are for 2014.
With SportPursuit.com, it's you against the clock. Street Velodrome, proudly sponsored by SportPursuit.com.